court is now in session. Today's case involves a massive betrayal by an ungrateful wife who thought she could climb to the top by stepping on the man who built her ladder. You're the jury today. Listen to the evidence, review the digital receipts, and let me know your verdict in the comments. Did I go too far, or did she get exactly what she deserved? Let's dive in. My wife, Vanessa, and I were married for 8 years. When we first met, she was working a dead-end retail job making $14 an hour, crying herself to sleep every Sunday night because of her toxic manager. I, on the other hand, was a senior cloud infrastructure engineer making a very comfortable 6-figure salary. I loved her, so I told her to quit. I told her to follow her dream of designing luxury, eco-friendly athleisure wear. I didn't just give her moral support, I gave her my life savings. I put up $150,000 of my own money to fund her first inventory run. But more importantly, I built the engine of her business. Vanessa is incredibly creative, but she doesn't know the difference between an IP address and a domain name. I spent every night for 6 months coding her custom e-commerce website, setting up the secure payment gateways, optimizing her SEO, and managing the server architecture. I automated her inventory management, her shipping labels, and her customer service flows. The business, AuraVibe, exploded. Thanks to my automated systems and her eye for design, it went viral on TikTok. Within 3 years, AuraVibe was pulling in $10 million in annual revenue. And that is exactly when Vanessa changed. She started hanging out with high society entrepreneurs and luxury influencers. Suddenly, I wasn't her supportive husband anymore, I was just the tech guy who lives in her house. She started making passive-aggressive comments at dinner parties. "Oh, Mark just does computer stuff," she'd laugh to her new millionaire friends. "He doesn't really understand the vision or the grind of a true CEO." I tolerated the disrespect for a year because I thought she was just overwhelmed by sudden fame. But the breaking point came 2 months ago. I stayed up until 4 a.m. fixing a critical server crash that would have cost the company $200,000 in daily sales. When Vanessa woke up at 9 a.m., she didn't say thank you. She looked at the dirty coffee mug on my desk and sighed. "Mark, look at you," she said, her voice dripping with disgust. "You're sitting here in sweatpants coding while I'm out making deals. You have no ambition. You're holding me back. I need a partner who matches my status, not a glorified IT technician." 2 days later, I was served with divorce papers. Vanessa had hired a high-priced, celebrity divorce attorney. Along with the petition, she handed me a non-disclosure agreement and a buyout offer. She offered me a pathetic, flat sum of $100,000 to walk away from AuraVibe completely and sign over all rights. Her lawyer's letter stated that since the brand, the designs, and the LLC were entirely in her name, I was legally entitled to nothing but a minor, consulting fee for my tech work. She was trying to rob me of the empire I built. I sat in my car, staring at the divorce papers, and a cold, mechanical calm washed over me. Vanessa thought she was the queen of the castle, but she forgot who laid the bricks. See, Vanessa's lawyer was excellent at family law, but he was completely illiterate when it came to digital asset ownership. When I built AuraVibe, I didn't register the website domain, the cloud hosting servers, the payment processing API, or the custom automation code under her name or the company name. I couldn't. At the time, the company didn't exist yet. I had registered everything under my personal tech consulting firm, Apex Systems LLC. Every single line of proprietary code that ran her multimillion-dollar store belonged entirely to me. AuraVibe didn't own the website, they were simply leasing it from me under a verbal agreement with zero corporate contract. I called my dad, who is a retired corporate attorney, and we spent the next 48 hours drafting a legal response. We didn't send it to her lawyer. We sent it directly to the hosting provider. On a Friday morning, during the peak of her highly publicized spring collection drop, I sat at my laptop with a cup of coffee. I opened my terminal, accessed the master server repository, and executed a clean, legal termination of service. I didn't delete her customer data, that would be illegal destruction of property. Instead, I simply unlinked my proprietary code from her domain name and revoked the server licenses owned by my LLC. In less than 3 seconds, auravibe.com went completely black. The payment gateways shut down. The shipping labels stopped printing. The customer portal vanished. A giant, generic 404 error, service terminated by administrator, message appeared on the screens of over 50,000 customers who were currently trying to check out. My phone started vibrating so hard it nearly walked off the desk. It was Vanessa. I let it ring. She called 24 times before she finally sent a frantic text, "Mark. The website is down. We are losing $30,000 an hour. Fix it right now, this isn't the time for a tech glitch." I finally replied, "It's not a glitch, Vanessa. I'm just a glorified IT guy with no ambition, remember? As per your divorce filing, I have ceased all consulting services for AuraVibe. Since my firm, Apex Systems, owns the server infrastructure and the code, I have reclaimed my property. Good luck with your spring drop." 10 minutes later, her celebrity lawyer called my dad. He was screaming about injunctions, lawsuits, and tortious interference. My dad calmly interrupted him. "Counselor," my dad said, his voice smooth as silk. "Feel free to file an injunction. But before you do, please review the registration logs for the AWS servers and the Shopify enterprise architecture. You'll find they are entirely owned by Apex Systems LLC, a company established 3 years before the marriage. My son hasn't destroyed anything. He has simply stopped providing free infrastructure to a non-paying third party. If your client wants her website back, she can negotiate a commercial lease. Our starting price is $5 million. The leverage was total. Vanessa's entire business was trapped in a digital vault, and I held the only key. Her investors found out about the blackout within 6 hours. They panicked. They threatened to pull out of their manufacturing contracts and sue Vanessa for gross negligence if the site wasn't live by Monday. Vanessa's high society status vanished overnight. She realized that without the tech guy in sweatpants, she didn't have a $10 million business, she just had a garage full of unwearable yoga pants. She crawled back to the negotiation table by Sunday evening. She looked completely broken, her eyes red from crying. Her lawyer sat next to her, completely silent. We signed a global settlement agreement. In exchange for transferring the website code and server ownership over to her LLC, Vanessa had to sign over 50% of the entire AuraVibe parent company to me, along with an ironclad clause granting me a permanent, non-dilutable 15% royalty on all future gross sales. I also kept the suburban house and her luxury SUV. I'm currently sitting on the beach in Maui. I don't code for AuraVibe anymore. They had to hire an entire team of 6 engineers to replace me, costing her $500,000 a year. Every month, a massive royalty check deposits into my bank account while I sit in my sweatpants and enjoy the ocean view. So, jury, did I go too far by crashing her entire empire during her biggest sales event, or was it the only way to make an ungrateful narcissist pay her debts? Let me know your verdict in the comments.